Hey everybody, it's Silvershroom, and welcome to the final episode of the creation of the Blender solar system. Last time, we put together the dwarf planets and their systems of moons, and now we are once again viewing the entire solar system, and we're going to put the planets and dwarf planets on their orbits. So to start off, I've already copied and pasted the things I need from the other files. I have the planets and dwarf planets in their collections. And to start off, we're going to place the planets on their orbits. So in order to accomplish this, I have these empty objects similar to the ones I used for the moons. But this time, instead of just copying locations, I'm just going to parent Mercury to this empty object. So now when I set this to follow the path, Mercury's orbit, Mercury is going to be tilted almost into its orbital plane because its axial tilt is almost 0. Now that's all fine and dandy with Mercury, which doesn't have moons. But for planets with moons, it's going to change the orientation of the moon's orbits, and I don't want that. So to get by this, all I gotta do is rotate it in the negative direction with the longitude of the ascending node and the argument of perihelion. And I know I've got it right if the x-axis, if the axes are more or less aligned. Look at the x and y axes, and that seems to be right. So Mercury's facing more or less the same way it was before, but it has now incorporated the tilt of its orbit. So now, for the rest of the planets, it's going to be pretty much just more of the same. We've got Venus. Now with Earth, this camera's just gonna view objects from Earth, but not really gonna bother with that here. I did a lot of that before. Yes, so with Earth, I want to parent the moon's orbit to this empty object. Then I think I can get away with parenting the Earth as well. And if I do this, then yeah, I think I also want the moon there. Okay. And then put it on Earth's orbit. And that does not appear to have worked at all. Yeah, this can get really finicky. I just gotta remember how to do this. Okay, I'll start by doing this. Okay, the moon is in the right place, but the Earth is not. So I think it just has a problem with the inverse. Yeah, the inverse thing it just isn't working for some reason. So that's an easy fix. We can just duplicate this. Put the offset to 50 so it's at the other side. And I'll take Earth. Okay, let's back up a lot. I'll parent the Earth to that. Then I can do this. Okay, works if I uncheck this offset thing. But that's still acting up, so I should still be able to pull it off if I do that. And then that. Okay, so that seems to work fine. But now, I need to do the same thing I did for this. And let's check if that works out. Yes, the Earth is tilted the right way. As for the moon, it should be in crescent phase. And it looks as though the near side is in fact facing the Earth. But does it stay like that? Surround the sun. And it looks like we're all good. Okay, we've got the Earth in place, and I've got my methods down. So let's quickly move on to Mars. Don't ask me why I bother with... Don't even ask me why I bother with Phobos and Deimos, because they do not seem to work with with how small they are. But things should still work out just fine. I do the same thing. Put Mars there. And the orbits. Put this on Mars's orbit. And do a little rotation. And perfect. I didn't bring over Earth and Mars's atmospheres because that just creates more problems. And why can't I see out? Because I accidentally disabled that collection. Okay, got Mars. Jupiter up next. Take these orbits and Jupiter itself. Yeah, and for some reason it doesn't show it as it just shows the outline. Yeah, Blender can't handle everything. But I'm honestly amazed it can handle all of this. It's actually really impressive. Okay. There's Jupiter. And now Saturn. And another thing with Saturn's rings, those volumetric shaders don't work so well. So I just switched to standard transparency. And I only brought over its most visible rings. Okay, time for Uranus. And I accidentally put Neptune and Triton in this collection. Why me? Okay. Good. And with this, Uranus is in place. However, it faces the same problem with its rings. Let's just take care of that. Oh, the rings are hard to see anyway, so... that'll be just fine. And that's all for Uranus. And finally, in the correct collection, Neptune. And we are good for Neptune. So, taking a look at this whole thing, we can play and see the planet's orbit. I'll go ahead and speed it up a little, by which I mean make it 20 times faster, or about 100 times faster. Okay, that out of the way, it's time to do the same thing, but for the dwarf planets. Okay, first up, Ceres. No issues there. Orcas. know, it's honestly, it's so messed up that my attempts to fix things probably doesn't make much of a difference, but there's still the issue of Orcas not working out so well with the inverted thing. I'll just do the same thing I did with the moon. Perfect. And as if there's much of a point in trying to look at this, let's just move on to Pluto. Okay, duplicate. 50. That works. Looks pretty good, actually. Jame time. Okay, and Jame has another ring issue, but doubt you're going to be seeing it much anyway. You can still make out Jame, though. Now, Quawar. Yeah, not really seeing it. No big deal. Yeah. Makimaki. You know, I think I just realized I may be messing up some of the moon's orientations slightly. I think if I wanted to do it perfectly, I would have parented the moons along with the empties that go on the orbits, but jeez, I think I've done enough. I mean, give me a break. I'm the only one pressuring myself right now. Okay, gong gong. And now, Eris. And finally, Sedna. Yeah, forget about seeing Sedna. Well, actually, in the present time, it is actually closer to the sun than Gong Gong, but yeah, on average, it's obviously much further away, as seen by its ridiculous orbit. But anyway, that is all. Let's take a quick look at the dwarf planets orbiting. Not going to see much moving besides Ceres, but we can speed it up. This is as far as it'll go. It looks like there's 2 Ceres frames. And let's throw the planets into this mix as well. It won't let me. It won't let me do both. Here, I'll just do this. There. Now we can see all of them. Yeah, it can be hard to tell which dwarf planet is which, but the orbital resonance between Neptune and the outer dwarf planets should hold. So anyway, that's it. We have completed the Blender solar system, more or less. So, I'm not sure what I'll be doing next, but I hope to be able to do something else soon. This is Silver Shroom, signing off of Blender. Goodbye.